Hello, I'm back again with another watercolor speed paint. This time, it's a Chibi bear couple. The painting is actually a part of a collaboration that I'm doing with other artists for Valentine's Day. We're going to be making 3 to 4 different themed sets. The sets will include a diffuser, a sticker pack, and an art print, like the one that I'm painting here. If you guys don't know what a diffuser is, because I didn't, it's basically a flameless candle. They're plaster sculptures that have absorbed scent into them, so think really cute mini figures that smell really, really good. I'll have links somewhere if you guys want to check that out. The artist that I'm working with, she has so many different cute figurines, like a Totoro one, a No Face. I think it's worth taking a look. Now, I haven't decided if I want to make my art prints into a Valentine's Day card or have both a card and a mini print. I'll have to decide that soon because our launch date for this is coming up real close. Man, this is going to be an even sadder Valentine's Day for me. I've been single for a couple of years now since my last relationship, so usually for Valentine's Day, my friends and I would throw a Galentine's with just a couple of single girls and some taken, but the point is, it would be all girls, and we would eat tons of chocolate and other junk foods, and it was great. But now, it's not safe to do that, so I'm thinking I'm just going to have to make some chocolate-themed dessert, sit down, watch some good old anime. Maybe this year will be the year that I finally start watching Attack on Titan. Don't flame me. I know that the 4th final season is out, but hear me out. Don't flame me. I've been putting it off because I heard that it is extremely sad and a bit gory. I can't do gore. What's interesting is that I can watch different types of horror movies. I won't say that I love them, but I can enjoy them to a degree. But if they have the slightest amount of gore in them, I will refuse to watch any further. I just can't do gore. So I thought, okay, then Attack on Titan will just be one of those anime that I don't watch. That's okay. But what happened this year, or I guess last year because it's 2021 now, was that I found out about the character Levi. Oh my word, Levi is amazing. I was just scrolling through YouTube when I came upon a clip that had Levi's fight scenes in it, and the comments were flooded with things like, all of the animation funding goes towards Levi's fight scenes, or how much should we spend on Levi's scenes? And the reply would be yes. And now I just want to watch Attack on Titan solely for Levi, but I'm still scared of the gore. And I just realized that I'm talking about Attack on Titan while I'm painting these adorable, cute chibis. Okay, so back to the point. Watercolor painting. I was actually debating if I should do a digital print instead of watercolor because digital pieces just come out nicer when they're printed, since you're printing directly off the file, while with watercolor or just traditional art, you have to scan it to make it into a digital file, edit it, and then print it. You can see that I just do a lot of debating with myself because I am bad at making decisions. Also, at the same time, I hadn't really solidified my digital art style, but I was very comfortable with my traditional watercolor art style, so I decided to do watercolor instead. I think it's because I'm more familiar with watercolor. When I started drawing as a hobby in middle school, I used graphite. And of course, anime was my inspiration. I drew tons of anime characters in pencil. I was so invested that my friend actually gifted me some smudge pencils to make smoother shading. I was a little sad that my drawings couldn't come out in color, but I refuse to draw in color pencil. It just isn't my medium. I don't know if it's the way I hold it or whatever, but my hand starts hurting and I don't have that much fun with it. Eventually, I got introduced to watercolor by one of my art tutors. My parents saw how much I loved drawing, so they asked a college art student to tutor, quotes, me, and give me the basics. It was more like a babysitting session with drawing as an activity she would do with me. But one day, she introduced watercolors to me, and at first I had such a horrible time with it. It was really frustrating. The colors weren't spreading the way I wanted to, and I couldn't control the water flow really well. But she let me keep her watercolor palette and brushes, and something just kept telling me to try it out. Eventually, I started to really like it, but I wasn't any good at it. And I did see a lot of artists drawing their OC anime characters or their fan art with watercolor, and it looked amazing. I love the texture watercolor gives when it's all done. Did anyone else have this problem at their school? Like, hear me out. Like, you're taking an art class, and the biggest motivator for you to create art is anime. But the teacher just says that anime isn't art, and you should try to draw more realistic art. I thought that was the most frustrating thing. I mean, after taking figure drawing and anatomy classes in college, I do realize that realism is very important to hone in your skills and further yourself as an artist. But to tell a child that anime isn't real art is kind of heartbreaking for a kid with dreams and imagination that are fortified by the beautiful storylines and animation style of Japanese anime. In college, I met a gem of a professor who saw how much I loved anime, so he told me to draw an original character of mine, but try different styles, and that helped me get out of my comfort zone without feeling like I'm prohibited to love anime. Eventually, watercolor became my medium of choice, but I saw that a lot of artists started to use tablets, and I thought I should try that out too. So when I graduated from college, I made my first big girl purchase and bought myself an iPad because people were raving about the app Procreate. Strange name, by the way. And wow, my first digital drawing was horrid. I don't think I even have it anymore, but wow, I'm still fairly new to digital art, so I hadn't quite grasped what my art style was. But actually, very recently, I think I know which direction to take it. I had a commission from someone who asked me to draw a mermaid for her, but she wanted it in my digital style. I forewarned her that I was more comfortable with watercolor and it might take longer because I haven't found my style yet. But this person was very understanding in that she said that I could take as long as I needed, and that she hoped this commission could take me a step closer into finding out what my digital art style I wanted to portray. And luckily enough, I think I found the groove that I was looking for. I haven't posted it yet in any of my social media, but I will soon. Maybe next week. I love how it turned out, but I do think I need to work on my color palette a little more. I tend to make a lot of these cute style paintings, which is why my artist friend suggested I paint a chibi couple for this collaboration. Over the years, I've gotten several comments about how cute my art was, and in my mind, I'd be like, no, I want to make beautiful art, not cute art. But I can't seem to get away from the cute stuff. I do get the occasional commission request to draw realistic or semi-realistic art, and I can paint them, but I guess I just don't enjoy it as much as my others. Okay, so for this part of the painting, I was almost done with a couple here, but I realized that the overall canvas looked so empty, so I needed some type of background that would go well with the chibis. I thought a nice pink bow to frame them was a nice idea, so I went with it. I normally just paint the characters and then be done with it, so this was kind of new for me, but I had fun and that's what matters. I was never really going to do any sort of collaboration or promote my art in any way because it was just more of a hobby, but now I'm glad I did it. Just having the thought that a lot more people will see my art and will buy it motivated me to paint better and update my skills. I don't think I would have pushed myself that hard if I stayed in my comfort zone. Also, I met so many cool people along the way. There are some really nice people out there. Like this one time, I painted Hatsuharu Soma from Fruits Basket. I actually did a Speedpaint voiceover for that too. It's my first video. And at the time, I had recently made a Twitter, so it didn't have that much of a following. I was more comfortable with posting my art on Reddit, so that's what I did. I found the Fruits Basket thread and posted Hatsuharu there, and so many people responded, and they were all warm and very supportive. One person asked if I had a Twitter, and at that moment, I was glad I had made one before. I never really got into Twitter initially, so I was planning on making my Instagram my sole social media account, but I'm glad I went against that. I commented my Twitter handle and I got a handful of people retweeting my Hatsada post. I mean, it wasn't that many people, like 5 or 10, but let me tell you guys, it was such a joyful moment for me. I was actually having a really bad holiday experience then, but those comments and those retweets made my holiday. I felt so much warmth from those people, so it doesn't matter if it's one person or 1,000. If it's genuine and kind, it can just make anyone's day. Although, I will say there may be times when you can have an awkward encounter. Let me tell you guys, I love Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon was my childhood. When I was a kid, I wanted to adopt Sailor Moon's personality. She helped me shape into the person that I am today. When I heard that one of my favorite arcs in Sailor Moon was getting animated into 2 movies, I was super excited because they updated the animation style from the interesting style they used in the Crystal seasons, and the plot would be very close to the original manga. In honor of that, I painted Helios and older Chibiusa, 2 characters from the anime, and posted that onto Reddit. And I got so many nice comments about it, but one day I noticed that someone DM'd me on Reddit telling me how much they liked the art posts, and I thanked the person, but then he suddenly told me how he was thinking of killing himself, and I started freaking out. I was really shocked that he would tell a stranger that, but then I thought maybe he didn't have anyone to turn to, so I heard him out and convinced him not to do that. He then told me his age and proceeded to tell me other deep stuff about his personal life, and then the awkward part began. He was telling me how he didn't have a girlfriend, and he told me his age too, so I said, "You're still young, a lot of people don't have partners at that age, so it's okay." And that's when he asked me if I was a girl or a boy, and I sensed where this might have been going. I don't like assuming, but with the internet, I thought it would be better to be cautious, so I told him that I didn't like saying my gender. He then asked me about my age, and I told him I really didn't feel comfortable disclosing how old I was, so I guess he was trying to figure it out in a more roundabout way, because he asked me if I played the Xbox, and I replied I do. And then he asked me if I played the original Xbox, and I knew that if I said yes, then he can have a gauge of how old I was, so I did a slight white lie, and I still feel bad about it, but I didn't know how else to go without triggering his depression. I replied, original Xbox? And then he just ghosted after that. I guess he realized that I might have been too young for him if I didn't know what the original Xbox was, so moral of that story is when you're on the internet, you're gonna meet a lot of nice and cool people, but also be sure to be careful because in the end, these are strangers. And that's it. That's my random storytelling. And this is the finished piece. And it'll be available for the collaboration gift set that is on my Etsy and on the other artists' Etsy as well. So be sure to check that out. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I hope that you come back next time. Have a good one. Bye.